to make a big difference.
For this to continue, will Republicans have to vote for at least some of his proposals?
Well, look, I don't think they're going to be his proposals. They're going to be our proposals. They're going to be Jeff. If people have a concept for a tax credit for creating jobs, we're certainly, as you heard the president say on Friday, he's ready, willing, and able to look at it. But I don't think the president is ready, though, Jeff, that if you don't agree with everything that he does, that you have to agree with everything that they do in order for that to garner some series of bipartisanship. If that's the test, I think that's not a healthy standard to try and meet.
Was there one thing on Friday that he was really struck by, that he said that he would embrace or intrigued by?
Well, look, I think specifically when Congressman Ryan mentioned, look, a lot of I haven't met many presidents, but I dare say I doubt there are many that would miss the opportunity to use that.
Robert, just two questions.
I like how I always go like this, just
two
questions.
That's all.
Okay.
There have been news reports that the president's nominee for EEOC Commissioner, Chai Feldblum, and the ACLU support the acceptance of polygamy. Does the president believe our armed forces should begin recruiting polygamists?
I'm happy to look at the information in the news reports you cite, but I don't have anything on that.
All right. Last June, Newsweek's editor Evan Thomas on MSNBC said the president is, quote, sort of God. Last week on MSNBC, Chris Matthews said the president is, quote, post-racial. I forgot he was black tonight for an hour. What is the president's reaction to these two MSNBC revelations?
Smartly, the president does not occupy his time watching cable television. Yes, sir.
Robert, do you think it made it more difficult for Khalid Sheikh Mohammed to get a fair trial with the comments you made yesterday, the fact that he would be? Why not?
No, because I dare say, Anna, we wouldn't go to trial and indict him if we didn't feel like we had a case that would lead to a conviction. And I think I don't have any problem saying that I think that conviction would lead to the death sentence.
He would be in a civilian trial subject to the same kind of protections other defendants would be, including innocent until proven guilty.
Absolutely.
And do you believe that the president still is insisting on civilian trials, even though the growing number on Capitol Hill are saying they would stop the money for those civilian trials?
Well, look, I think the president believes, particularly if you look at the Southern District of New York, you've got experienced prosecutors at bringing these cases, experienced judges at hearing these cases. We've all seen cases that have gone through that system and ended in the conviction of those that committed terrorism. And I go back to, two of the bigger examples over the past many years. Richard Reed, who tried to blow up a plane over the Atlantic in an operation masterminded and financed by Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, was brought to justice in a courtroom in Boston. Zachariah Moussaoui, the 20th hijacker, was brought to justice in a courtroom about 10 miles from where I stand and you sit, heralded by the former mayor of New York's reverence for our justice system after having testified in that trial. I do see now that you have some members of Congress rethinking their what appears to be more than 8-year support of that type of justice in the short term, in what I think is a continuation of the type of games that people in this country are tired of. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Robert. Two brief questions. First, the president was widely praised for the tone that he had with the Republicans of conciliation and conviviality. On the other hand, one of his major supporters Andy Stern of the SEIU has used some very strong language about Republicans who opposed health care reform, at one point likening them to terrorists. Is that the kind of talk the president associates with or repudiates?
I have said this many times in this room about different policy debates. When nobody should be compared to people that to the people that have sought to do the world harm through terrorism. Nobody should be compared to Nazis. I think in the heat of these debates, people tend to get overexcited on both sides of the political spectrum, in both parties. I think that those type of comments on either side make no sense.
Thank you, Robert.
Let me take a couple more since I know these guys are, yeah, and then I'll come back, Karen.
Robert, in his speech last week, the president mentioned immigration in passing, but didn't go into detail. That obviously disappointed some immigrant rights advocates who were hoping he'd throw his weight behind a comprehensive bill that would include legalization. So my question is, if this is such a priority for him this year, why not go stake out a specific position?
Well, look, I think the president's position on immigration reform and what he supports is enormously clear. He campaigned on it. He worked on legislation that I think is quite similar to what would come up this year in the House or the Senate with people like John McCain and Lindsey Graham in 2005 and 2006 in the Senate. Like climate change, there are bipartisan efforts that are ongoing to bring legislation like this to the fore and to create bipartisan majorities to get it passed. The president hosted a meeting here not too long ago to keep that process going, and we look forward to taking part in it. Karen?
So I understand you don't want to get ahead of the testimony of
Yes, ma'am.
Secretary Gates and Admiral Mullen, but on Don't Ask, Don't Tell, does the president envision a dual track for repeal where there's, you know, some alteration of the regulations within the Pentagon going on at the same time that they're pushing for congressional repeal?
Give me a few hours, and I think
Are you going to get back to me personally?
I will. I think you'll see efforts on a number of fronts over the course of the next many months that will be outlined by Secretary Gates, outlined by Admiral Mullen, the chair of the Joint Chiefs, to address what the president promised, again dating back to his Senate campaign in 2003 and 2004, to seek the overturning of Don't Ask, Don't Tell a number of different ways. Thanks, guys.